An Instagram post gets an unexpected boost. A TikTok catches in the algorithm. Sometimes that's all it takes to launch someone into internet fame. But then what? This Blew Up is a new podcast documentary that reveals how social media stardom is made. It's a different kind of fame that's not always as glamorous as it looks. From Spotify and the Ringer Podcast Network, I'm Alyssa Bereznek. You can listen to This Blew Up on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. All right, it's official. I think I've discovered the ultimate coupling of all time. Like any good relationship, they really balance each other out. One is super sweet, and the other, well, they can be a little nutty sometimes. It is, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. So perfect, some would call it true love. Find Reese's now at a store near you. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. Welcome to Bachelor Party. Today, we're talking about Love is Blind. Hi, Callie.
Hello.
I didn't even introduce myself or you. I'm Juliet Litman. You're Callie Curry. You probably know that after listening to this podcast. We're here to talk about Love is Blind Season 3, Episodes 5, 6, and 7. Definitely pivotal episodes. We learned a lot. Last week, we really wanted to talk about them. We couldn't, so I'm really glad we're finally here. We're going to start with the pool party, but we also just, so much stuff happened. I mean, probably the moment of the season happens at the end of episode 6 with Nancy and Bartise. We'll get into all of it. Callie, do you like this season? 7 episodes in.
Yeah, I really, really like this season. And I think people are going to like it. I hope people like it because I would like season 4 and season 5 and season 6 and season 7. Like, I think it's a good show.
I do too. Also, I was lukewarm on this to begin with, like this season, because I just didn't really care about anyone, and I was like, oh, I hate everyone. But it actually is like probably the most provocative season, like in a kind of like take it into its totality. So I'm in. It took me a while, but now I'm in.
I said this last episode, but I still kind of get the vibe that most of these people did not do this for fame, which is hard to do on reality television now. So I still really like the cast, even though I wouldn't say this is like the greatest crop of men that Love is Blind has ever put out there, but I enjoy the different dynamics.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, these guys suck, except for Brennan. But in SK, it's fine.
Wait, SK does not suck.
Yeah, he doesn't suck. He doesn't suck. He's just not for me. I like him.
Justice for SK.
Let's get into the pool party.
He's not my type either. Wait, can I just say that this episode, I think, is my favorite episode of the season, minus finale. So I was like on the edge of my seat waiting for people to watch this episode.
That's how I felt about 6. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for people to see Nancy and Bartise talk about abortion. I was just like, this is a huge deal. I was like, this is a huge deal at this moment in time. And they couldn't have known that. Just a reminder, this was filmed in the spring of 2021. So it's like, it's a huge deal, I think. I mean, I think Netflix will get some blowback from a lot of people. And then I think on the other hand, a lot of people will be like, that's awesome. That should be on TV. And that's also a really necessary conversation.
Yeah. I don't know why Netflix would get any blowback. Like, you can't control people's like point of view. Right. And I think that is a very normal conflict, probably. Like, I personally probably wouldn't date someone who's not pro-choice, but I mean, like, it's a conversation that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll get deep into it. I really want to talk about every aspect of it, but can we please just start with the pool party? Because the pool party was epic. I mean, it was the only good part of them being in Malibu. But everyone just like came to play. Everyone showed who they are. And I feel like if you only watch one episode of Love is Blind, like you need that one. You probably could start the season with episode 5, honestly. Like, because they catch you up. Like, they do.
Yeah, you're going to see everyone's personality in this episode. You're going to know who each person is by the end of the episode.
Yeah. And
although
also,
I wouldn't say that this is Alexa's best episode. I think she's better than this episode.
Yeah, but I did like how she talked about sex. It was very realistic and also just funny.
She might have been a little drunk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the other reason why I thought it was really good, that episode was really good, was because like if you missed anything, like by how they edited it, like the way they're telling each other what happened, like the women talking to each other, that it also kind of like gave you the highlights of like where these relationships stand, and that was like very good like narrative structure. Honestly, I enjoyed it.
Narrative editing.
Yes. Biggest winner of the pool party, Raven. This is when I came to like Raven. I turned on her. And I was down on her. I wasn't sure. And then I loved how she handled herself when Bartise was like kind of like hitting on her. And she was like, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I have to say the jumping jacks really turned me off of Raven. And I couldn't have been happier with her than in this episode. I was like, oh, wow. I was wrong. I think I like her. She did not even give him a centimeter. And she kind of offended him in the nicest way possible. She was like, we would literally have nothing to talk about. Like, what are we going to say? Did you work out today?
I know. She basically was like, you have no depth, so there's nothing for us to discuss. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I think that also we got to understand Raven a little bit more. And like, you know, the way that she just like took her time with SK was ended up being like kind of sweet instead of seeming weird the way that I was kind of harsh on her last week. And I don't know. This is when Raven really began to rise for me. Wasn't a straight line up, more on that to come, but I did really just like love her performance here. It was fantastic.
I don't think I'm going to completely roll back that she was very cold with SK in the beginning, because I think she was. I have no problem taking your time. Like I think I said last week, I completely agree with that. I think I would have been the same way. You have to like warm up to physical, but she was super cold. But I feel like this episode also, she kind of talked about how like she's very guarded. So it kind of explained why she is the way she is. And to me, I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, she's just getting comfortable. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Flip side, biggest loser, obviously Cole. Oh my God, Cole is so embarrassing. I hate him so much, and his performance at the pool party led to the most offensive thing I think anyone said this season by telling his fiance she's a 9, not a 10. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I was okay. So in the moment, he did a few things that I did not like. So let's start there. But in the moment, I was like, a 9 is not like a bad score, but like, does anyone say that?
No, not at all. It's just like, also, if you're thinking that way, like there's something wrong, I think.
Also, it's like, it's not like, I was thinking like, what if it was his girlfriend and he said that? Would you feel better about it? But I don't know if I would.
No.
But I'm like,
I don't want someone to rate me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't want to be rated. I don't want to be rated. But I was also, if you think like okay, he's going to rate you, right? So let's just say that he's rating you. I don't know if you can tell someone you're spending the rest of your life with, like, you're not all the way there for me. Like, that's essentially what he's saying. Then I'd be like, then why are we engaged? Why, if I am not what you want fully, why are we together? Why did you ask me to marry you? Also, not only did you call me a 9, you called Colleen a 10.
It's so offensive how the fact that he could think that's okay. It's not offensive. It's honestly just like really hurtful. I can't believe she didn't just break up with him then. That would have been the end for me. I don't think there's any kind of coming back from that.
Also, it's like I don't know how many different ways you can say that you're more attracted to somebody. But if I was her, I would have at some point just been like, I get it. Like, we don't have to keep going over this.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you think that Colleen reciprocated too much when they were talking?
It's tough. I don't really care about flirting.
Okay.
I think it's weird because, like, from us watching it, I was like, she literally just wants the attention. I don't think that she wanted Cole. I think she just wanted the attention. But if I were Matt, would it be frustrating for me? Also, I guess, it's a different situation. She spent time talking to Cole in the pods. She wanted Cole to propose to her at some point. Matt doesn't even know that part of it. But if I were Matt, it wouldn't be okay. I don't think I would handle it the way that Matt did. But no, it's not okay because it's essentially your ex-boyfriend. I don't even know what to call that.
Well, I thought she actually seemed kind of uncomfortable. Like, she liked the attention, but knew this was a problematic conversation and just kind of didn't know how to get out of it. And
I think I think she knew it was a problematic conversation, knew it was being filmed. So it was kind of like, uh-oh, but I really like this. I'm going to keep going. She could have gotten out of it. Raven got out of it real quick. Raven.
I know.
You don't even have to be rude. If she would have semi shut it down from the beginning, he wouldn't have kept going. She was into it from the first word. So Cole was like, okay, green light for me to keep going with this.
I think people's ages are really showing. I think that one of the reasons Raven handled it better, she's also just has more experience dating, I think, than Colleen does. Also, especially if you're a ballet dancer, I feel do you have time for dating in your life? That just seems really hard. And she's a legit ballet dancer.
I don't think that's an excuse. Everyone has jobs. I would also, I don't know what the age difference is. What is the age difference between Raven and Colleen?
I think Raven's 3 years older.
That's not that much older. Also, I would say that the way that Colleen acted in the pods is pretty similar. So, none of this is surprising.
It's just so hard to understand why Colleen and Matt got engaged. I mean, how much did they even really talk? And seeing her with Cole, you're just you're not ready to be engaged to this other guy. You also already had a blow up. So it's very tenuous.
I gotta be honest. Seeing her with Cole, my thought was you guys should be engaged.
He agrees wholeheartedly. That's who he would talk to at a bar. I don't think he should be engaged to anyone. I despise him. I cannot stand him. I think he's so insensitive.
I think he's immature and dumb. And I think that in general, women, including myself, what I just did just there, we excuse a lot of bad behaviors oh, they're just dumb. But kind of think he is.
I guess my point is I can't excuse it. I'm just he's dumb, but in a way that ends up hurting people's feelings. I think he kind of led Colleen on until he didn't, but I understand why she was so upset about that. And then he's just not that nice to Zenab. She's definitely difficult.
Well, did he lead Colleen on? I feel he was into Colleen and then wanted to have a deep conversation, and Colleen was yeah, no, it's not my thing.
I don't do
that. But by
that.
the way, now after knowing Cole, I'm Cole, that's not your thing either. You guys should have been matched. I don't really understand why he thought he needed a deep conversation when he was asking questions about who would win in a fight, a gorilla or a bear, or whatever the question was.
That's what it was.
I think you're on the same level as Colleen.
I think he considers himself smarter than he is, and he is definitely not. I mean, the other thing also is we don't have a ton of information about Colleen's religious life, and it does seem that was a big connection for him and Zenab.
Yeah, I do think that meant a lot.
Yeah, so, I think that's their primary connection, honestly.
or maybe their only connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but it happens again. It happens every episode. It feels like there's times with Zenab where I'm like, oh, you're so annoying. But then whenever I even don't want to be on her side, Cole does something where I'm just like, you're worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
it
gets to the point eventually where I'm like, she doesn't want to be nice to you because she doesn't like you because you're so rude.
Yeah. Which this is a great segue into the next episode, which is starting to meet everyone's families. So Cole's family won't engage, which like I don't really blame them for, but like definitely seems very hard if you're Cole and Zenab. And I think what he says about it is like also pretty weird. Like, don't worry, they'll love you once we're married, which is just so immature. Like maybe they won't. And
yeah, I don't really know what that means.
The fact that he won't like really consider, is this what it means that his parents won't meet her is just weird. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not weird. It just speaks to who he is. Like, he has no depth, and I don't know. I hate him. I'm so mean. But I thought also the way he handled her stepmom was also just like so unimpressive. But I think just seeing her stepmom and her stepbrother, and like clearly there's so much love there, was pretty touching because of her like really tragic story, which is just horrible. I mean, losing your parents.
Yeah, I was going to say, we talk about this on The Bachelor too. Like, I have no problem with a family being like, no thanks. It's not for me. We're not participating in this clown show. I'm totally fine with that. But I do think that for Zenab specifically, if I were her, I'd be like, I don't think we can get married. Like, it clearly means so much to her. Rightfully
she said
so.
She's
like, I'm not blaming her at all.
Join a family. Yeah, she said she wants to join a family.
Like I have no problem with her point of view either. So I feel like there should have been like let's keep working on this, but I have to meet your family.
Yeah. Her stepmom seems pretty sweet.
I think it must have been edited out of last week because I definitely talked about this last week, and you were like, yeah, it hasn't happened yet. I really think that the stepmom was trying to do everything right, and clearly loves Zenab so much and wants her to be happy. And I think she even like tries to understand like the layers of it all, like to be adopted by a white woman and you're not white. And she even like spoke about it a little bit. I don't even know. I have to go back and watch it, but she said something along the lines of like Zenab realizing that like she doesn't have that support anymore. And no matter like how much this woman loves her, like it's just different, which it is.
Yeah.
But
it's really
Cole
deep. He clearly doesn't get it.
No, none of it. I don't think he gets any layer of it. I think he feels bad because obviously anyone would feel bad, but that's about it.
Yeah. And you know what's like interesting about them? They don't really have any practical conversations. Like they're just like so different that they don't get into, and they don't, their connection just seems like so shallow that they don't get into like some of like the other stuff. Like we saw multiple couples talk about money and finances. I mean, and also it's interesting that like Nancy clearly has a bigger income than Bartise. Alexa is richer than Brennan. Like, so they had to like confront it or whatever. And they just like don't even get into that stuff. Like sort of like the realities of actually being a couple.
The only thing that you could really even see was that Zenab was just like, you live like a 10-year-old, which
he does.
Whoa. His place was disgusting.
When I go on a trip, I like clean my apartment diligently because I hate coming home to like a messy place. And Cole going back to like an absolute pigsty was disgusting. I don't think I've hated someone this much in a while.
I don't know. There's other people on the show that really scare me.
Well, who do you hate the most?
It's really hard. I think that I think who I would want my daughter to date the least is Matt.
I agree, because his anger issues.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. I mean, the way that he was also talking to her at the bar at the end, where like he had no empathy for her situation, just like getting like so angry, was just, not acceptable. Not a fan of his.
No, he was screaming. He freaks out over everything. Like, I'm just like, obviously nothing has happened, but I'm like, if something were to happen by his hands, I would not be shocked. His rage was just a little too much for me to feel comfortable.
I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree.
But
we got to
that being said, he has been through some shit, so maybe he can turn it around, but he's not ready and he needs some therapy.
I agree.
This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code Visible24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most. File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Let's talk about Nancy and Bartise. They're the most interesting, I think. I feel like I learned a lot about Nancy. She grates on me, but like she is what in my family we would call bad personality, good character. Like she clearly is hardworking. She's clearly motivated. She has a lot of empathy. I thought that like she pursued a hard conversation in a way that I was like really impressed with. But her also
she's
like
smart.
She's smart. Her family was hilarious.
Oh my God. I mean, like, if we could give a Yelp review on her family, 5 stars. Sign me up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Her brothers have no interest in Bartise. They're just like, they were ready to just like send him packing. And he couldn't handle it. He really couldn't handle them. I feel like Bartise is not used to being challenged.
It made Bartise come across so young.
Yeah, so young. He is. That's the main thing about him. He's just really immature. And same thing with the conversation about abortion, which like, she kept like pulling out these different scenarios and he clearly just like hasn't thought about a lot of these things. And maybe he hasn't had to.
Okay,
yes.
But has he not had to? Because I thought it was real weird how he was like, well, you can get like 1 pass.
Yeah, I thought that was super weird too.
I'm like, oh, you can? So have you done that 1 pass?
I thought he implied he had. I mean, which is completely fine because I'm pro-choice. So, if that is the case, that's totally fine. But I thought he implied it when he was like, I think he said something really small where he's like, yeah, like, I've been there. And then that led to them talking about plan B and like how he thought that was different, which, I also agree with. But like, it's like, with him, it's like a very slippery slope. Like she kind of like kept poking holes in his argument about just wanting to like love his child.
I believe that everyone has the choice, right? So, like, your choice, Bartise, if that's what you believe, great,
Yes.
good for you. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. But do I think that any of his logic made sense? No. I was like,
None.
wait, so you think this, but not this? Like, that doesn't make sense. You think
Yeah.
this, but not this? Like, it's just nothing. I think it all added up to what was best for him. So he's kind of like, well, I mean, I've used Plan B before, so that's fine. But this, and if you can do it once, because I've done it once, so once is fine. So, like, what if you had to do it again, Bartise? Are you just going to say, fuck it, I got to have a kid? Like, probably not. You're basically
Right.
just basing off of whatever you needed at the time.
Yeah. And, I don't think having an abortion is an easy choice for some people, especially if it's about like genetic, if it's like a result of genetic testing and things like that. But that's like a really like practical conversation. Like I was impressed that she was willing to have it, even though it must have been hard and uncomfortable. And also like had a perspective that she just like, she was sticking to. And whether you agree with her or not, like I think you have to like commend that. I really am curious how people will respond.
She made a lot of sense, and she didn't come from a place of like anger or I know more than you. She was like very open to what Bartise had to say. Like, I feel like the way she had the conversation is ideal. And she didn't even say like, I'm not saying that I would 100% do this. This is a conversation that I would have with my husband. I respect all of that. I do think it's crazy that he brought it up in front of his family.
That was nuts. I don't know why he did that. Like, was he trying to like get them to strong arm her? I thought that was so weird. It became
I was
like
just
the
like,
focus
this
of that.
is not appropriate. This is not a conversation you have with an entire family.
Especially when it's like still hypothetical. It's not even like it's not even like we're trying to decide what to do. Like Nancy's pregnant.
Or on day 3 of dating.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I know you're engaged, but
pods.
it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his sister was just also really not a Nancy fan. I don't really know based on what, but all right. Whatever you want, sister.
I think his sister was fine until the abortion thing. I have never, like, I guess, I don't know, was her reaction not crazy?
Yeah, it was like very severe. I don't know. Maybe like she has some kind of connection we don't know about, but I don't know. All of the family, not all of them, many of these family meetings were just very uncomfortable. Even the ones that like ultimately went well, like I still just found them very awkward. I guess that's the point of the show.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm fine with her having her views. I was just like, wait, why are you, like, she had a full meltdown. And I'm like, to your point, I was like, is something happening we don't know about? Like, I was so confused. I don't even know.
Same.
Also, if you're Nancy in that situation, I would be like, wait, what? Like, I feel like Nancy could not have handled it all better. And she didn't even seem like upset that he brought it up.
I know she's very poised. I the more that I think about Nancy, the more I regret my takes on her. I just wouldn't want to spend time with her, but she's obviously a good person. So there's that.
I think I remember when you said that she annoyed you, and I was just like, out of everyone on the show, like, she's one of the better ones. I mean, she's a little like quirky, but
do you think
not?
Do you think Bartise had a reason to be annoyed that she didn't tell him that she's like still basically in business with her ex? I thought that was kind of legit. She definitely didn't want to tell him and kind of like fudge the situation until she had to tell him the truth.
I don't think it matters.
Also,
you know why it really doesn't matter?
Why?
I'm like, it really doesn't matter because even without these properties, she's doing better than you. So who cares? Let's move on. I really liked how she also clearly makes more money than Bartise, and was like, essentially she was like, I mean, if we get married, everything that's mine is ours.
I don't know. He's just is not ready for this either. Him sitting at his computer and like ignoring her was one of the most uncomfortable things of the whole season.
Well, obviously, like it's
I could
impossible
not
for us to
handle it.
see everything, right? Like they can't show us everything. But I was just like, wait, how did we get here? Like it just seemed so severe.
I know, because the thing, like, it seemed that the one thing they did really have was like a physical connection. Like they were seemed like they in Malibu, they were having fun, they would get drunk together, and I don't know. I think like when he snapped out, I think when they left like the fantasy world, he just wasn't like able to roll with it in the same way that she was.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, but
we haven't
like,
talked about Alexa and Brennon at all. Can we just touch on them?
Yes, my faves.
My faves too. You know, they're just so different, and both of their families seem pretty like supportive and sweet. And I think we haven't talked about them because they're just like boring, but I don't know. I'm loving it. I just love those two. I love also he's just so sweet, and I don't know. The way that her dad talks about her is kind of a little weird in my opinion, but in general, it's just they're a great couple.
I was fine with her dad. I think parents in general can be a little weird. You know what I mean? They grew up at a different time, whatever. But I thought that, her dad is clearly very present in her life, cares about her, wants the best for her. I liked that he, like, in his conversation with Brendan at the end of it, like, you could tell he was like, I feel good about him because he's clearly has high character. Like, even his answer about, like, finances and all of that, like, a lot of people in her father's situation would just be like, this might not work. It's not for me. And he was like, I feel better about him than any other guy that I've met. And that's like solely based on his character.
Yeah, I liked that too. As someone who's only been to Austin for South by Southwest, like Alexa and Brennon strike me as like the two sides of Texas. Like, and like, is that true? You've spent a lot more time there, but I'm just like, is this what the state is? Like, either like super, like, I don't know, influencer type Alexa and country type Brennon?
I mean, look at the variety of people on this show. Like,
you're right.
On
I
this
just tried to stereotype it
season,
by ignoring everyone.
Yeah, on this season though, I feel like it's more all over the place than other seasons. You got a little bit of everything.
That is true. Like each of the women are so distinct from each other, and true the guys too. Although I feel like there's more commonalities, but the women in particular are all just very unique and distinct. That's a good point. They play into my Northerners stereotypes of Texas, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Also, so many different cultures. Yeah, very interesting.
It's very sweet.
But do I think that there is this dynamic a lot? Yes. In the bigger cities, like in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, if you live close to the city, usually you're in a like much more urban, affluent area, progressive area. And the further you go out, like it fades slowly. Obviously, there's like outliers in that, but that's kind of how it's set up. So yeah, if you go 45 minutes outside of Dallas, people still call that Dallas. Like Fort Worth is a completely separate, huge city, and people still say that's Dallas. It's not. Same with there's just so many cities. So yeah, I think that he's probably obviously. He's obviously from the countryside, and she's obviously from like University Park. It's completely different lifestyle. That means,
but I take your word for it.
Yeah,
I also
both are nice, just different.
I liked his family's house. I thought that was like really cool. I wouldn't know what to do with it, but I thought that was cool.
No, it made me like her. Like I feel like for someone to grow up the way that she grew up, based on what we've seen, what we saw, what her family's like, and for her to go out to his place, and she was like totally cool.
Yeah, I know. She's very surprising. I expected her to be like really like high strung and like really like I need this, I need that, and like I kind of would have expected her to say I would have expected her to say more of what Raven said about like, when Raven was saying that SK needs to contribute like to half their rent, even though he won't even be living in their apartment. I was like that. I think I would have stereotyped Alexa, like assuming she would say something like that, but she didn't. That was crazy.
100%. Also, like finances were not a turnoff for her at all.
I know. It's really lovely. That's great. Raven's comment to SK I thought was so bonkers. Oh my god. She was just like, I expect you to pay for this, this, and this. That is such a turnoff in my opinion. It's just like, where's the, like, it wasn't even like conversation. She was just like, here's my expectation. And I was feeling so good about Raven, and I was like, oh no, it's not great.
Yeah, I don't really know why there's that expectation. Also, Raven could move. There's nothing keeping her there.
I know, like, so basically SK and Raven, their options are to not get married or to get married, and then he basically instantly moves. Like, he, a month later is going to California. It's sort of like not great, not how you want to start your marriage, especially when you don't know each other that well. Then you go to being long distance. Tough. That's a tough setup.
That seems like an impossible setup. It also, but I will say that I do think that Raven is supportive of him going to school. Like, she understands that him going to Berkeley for grad school. Yeah, I think she's like, okay, he's going to Berkeley. It's not like he's going to, I don't even know. I don't even want to offend anybody. So it's not like,
I'm about to say, don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's going to Berkeley, which is a very good school. And I think she's like, okay, in the long run, this is only going to benefit me. So great. But I'm not moving, and you still need to pay half of my bills while you're a student and probably don't have a job.
Yeah. I know that's just not going to work out. I think we can say that right now. Even if they got married, like, there's no way that you can get married and then survive 2 years of distance if one of them didn't move. And I've checked out her Instagram. She has not moved. However, I did notice they were both in Cancun at the same time. I think there was like some kind of like either cast trip or reunion a couple of months ago because they were in Tulum at the same time.
Also, her TikToks are very Nigerian friendly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see.
Maybe they are together.
We don't know. We'll see. We have to watch the finale.
His mom was really sweet. I liked her. I mean,
I loved her mom. There was that scene. I don't think it was her mom, but whoever was like, you got to make sure there's stew. You got to make sure they have food, whatever. And Raven was kind of like, no, that's not me. Which is fine. But also I'm like, I feel like SK is very like supportive of whatever works for you. I don't know if you're as supportive. I don't know if she's as supportive of whatever works for SK.
No, but I do think she really loves him in her own way.
I think she loves the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, and then like she wants like the type of presence she wants in her life.
Yes.
I do wonder, like, I feel like their relationship I understand the least. I just would love to know more of like what they just like talk about when they're at home, essentially. Let's talk about Andrew coming back. I wanted more. Honestly.
I feel the same way about Zenab, by the way. Zenab and Cole, I'm like, what do you guys talk about?
I think I'm just like, I've written them off, whereas SK and Raven, I'm like, I think you both seem like good people who want this to work.
Yeah.
So I'm more curious, whereas with like Zenab and Cole, like, Cole I despise, and you guys clearly should not be together. So I don't wonder, because I know that they're not a match. Like, that ain't it for them. And I want more for both of them. Like, they don't make each other happy. They've been fighting so much.
I mean, every scene they're fighting.
Yeah, I know. They have like no
every scene they're fighting, and then they both are like, "But I love you so much," and I'm like, "Why? For what?
I know.
Why do you love her? Why do you love him?" Yeah, I'm like, you don't. Do you love each other? I don't think so. I haven't seen it. I've seen no love.
And also, she's not that warm either. Like, you know, maybe she has reason to be, but like, I'm not really a fan of hers. I don't despise her the way that I despise Cole, but she's not really great either. Let's talk about the bar and Andrew coming back. I mean, that was heartbreaking. I was glad Nancy had someone to talk to. We didn't talk about him in the eye drops last week, so now's the opportunity.
Yeah,
it's funny that
Nancy had someone to talk to, but like he's not a good guy.
The eye drop thing, I thought he was full of shit in the pods, but I mean, I guess they wanted to like expose him for being full of shit, because why else would they show that scene? You know, like obviously the show's highly edited, so that was just very bizarre. I guess it came through though, that to everyone.
Also, without Nancy even knowing any of that, she picked up on him being full of shit.
Yeah.
That's why she didn't choose him.
I wonder if any of the sex stuff is real.
I don't know if we. Yeah, I don't even know if we talked about that last week. But I have never heard of that being possible for a guy or for a girl for that matter, but definitely not for a guy.
I'm pretty sure we did talk about it, by the way. So it really stuck out.
I can talk about it 10 more times because I'm like, this logistically, it's got to go somewhere.
I know. I wanted her to hook up with him, though. I was just like, fuck Bartise, just go for it. You know, see what happens. Be wild.
I'm fine with her hooking up with him. I don't want her to like take him seriously.
I just would like to know like what he said is actually true and why he had the eye drops with him. Like to make sure it was clear that he like I never have eye drops on me. That's just not something I carry around.
My friend carries them around because her eyes get red really quickly. Also, this kind of random, but I had a question today in one of my group chats, which was like, how often do you cry? And like some people can't cry, so maybe that's why he brought them.
Like that's like often the plot of a rom-com. Like I have like in The Holiday, Cameron Diaz's character like can't cry. So I don't buy it.
My brother told me after something like really sad happened and everyone was crying afterwards, like a week later, he was like, I don't know if I can cry. And I was like, why? He was like, I was trying so hard. Nothing would come.
Just wanted to get involved and he couldn't be a part of it.
He was like, I felt the sadness of crying, but like I couldn't. Nothing, like it just wouldn't come. So
maybe, you know, maybe that's not how he expresses himself. I think crying feels really good. I don't cry that often, but like sometimes it's just like it comes. But it always makes me really tired if it's a good cry. I'm just like zonked afterwards because so much emotion.
I said that I probably do like maybe once a month. This woman in the chat was like, I try to do it once a day, usually every morning when I'm brushing my teeth.
What?
That's what she said.
So you know, tries to like just like experience something, feel alive.
I think she just likes getting a good cry out every day. She also had a baby 3 months ago, so maybe she's just like in the thick of it right now.
Sure,
yeah,
a lot of stuff going on. Okay, well, I hope she's doing okay.
There was a wide range of answers, which is why I was like, okay. I mean, I guess some people just don't cry.
Yeah. You know whose parents surprised me? Colleen's. They were just like super plain, normal people. And I was just like, I can't believe they want to be on TV.
I don't think that they they did strike me as a family that wanted to be there. I feel like they strike me as a family that's like, we support our daughter.
Yeah. They definitely were surprised. This also reminds me, the other thing about Raven that I liked, especially compared to Cole, is like Raven's family not wanting to be on the show is like not part of the show. She didn't turn it into like this big thing. And maybe that's because of who her partner is. Like it's okay. Whereas like Zenob's like,
well, no, it wasn't okay with her partner.
I know he wasn't. I know, but it wasn't like the defining thing of these 3 episodes, though. You know.
No. I know. I'm saying that like SK obviously was like way more understanding, but like his family wasn't. So like it could have been a bigger thing they just didn't make it one. You know what I mean? Like they just didn't allow it to become one. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just the difference between them. Like they're like constructive and like trying to like move forward versus the other two just like don't know how to support each other in any way. I don't know why I'm so mean about them. I think it's just because I hate Cole so much. He represents so much of what's bad about like idiot guys.
And also like they just weren't a happy couple. Like there wasn't like
no point.
A lot of good. Yeah, we didn't see a lot of good happening. So I mean, yeah, they didn't handle a lot of things well. I also like, you know, Raven wasn't like, they'll love you when they meet you.
Yeah,
she was like, I wish they were here. They're just not.
Yeah. I know. She was just like being honest about how she felt. And he couldn't handle it. Did we miss anything from these 3 episodes that was major?
Well, I mean, it ended on Matt losing his shit again.
Yeah, I know. He's scary. I mean, that seemed like a pretty standard drunk fight. Like you get separated. Like, I mean, not to excuse him, but like that rang true. I mean, where like one person goes to one place, you lose each other, get really mad. I mean, he was overly mad, but that was definitely like familiar to me.
Sure, that is, but not packing your bags and leaving.
Yeah. He's so dramatic. I think it's the second time he's done that.
Yeah, also his friends kind of are like, yep, that's him. I'm like, no one's like, hey, guy, maybe you shouldn't react that way. They're just like, that's just who he is.
Until he called Bartise, I didn't realize they were like all in the same building. They're just like down the hall.
Very close.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like, Bartise is your call? Not a good sign either.
I know. Obviously, call Brennan or SK. Duh. They're the ones who can help. You idiot.
Lastly, Bartise, when he saw Nancy with Andrew, I was like, oh, now you care?
Yeah, I know.
Like, well, why do you care now? Oh, wait, we didn't even talk about this either. It really, really, really annoyed me that Matt only believed Colleen when Cole told him.
I know. He's like that's like a misogynistic and like, I mean, not to mention like, how can you marry someone if you don't believe? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, he was just hitting on your fiance. Why does he have more credibility?
I know. It's like, could you have worse judgment?
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean? It makes no sense.
No, he's the worst. He's second worst behind Cole. I even prefer Bartise. Bartise, I have hope for. I think he can learn in the future. But these other two, I just not sure it's going to work out for them in life.
I think that I think Bartise and Matt can be better, but Matt right now scares me the most. But I do think that he can be better because I think what he went through is really shaping his like trust and reaction
trust issues,
and all of that.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Don't get it.
I'm so uninterested in Matt and Colleen that I like barely stalk them, so I don't have a lot of data about like if they're together or not. So I don't know.
I don't either. But Cole has been posting a lot on TikTok. So has Bartise. So has Raven. And Bartise's TikToks are like very critical of himself. Like he's like, oh my God, I came across so horribly. Why did I not just shut up? Why did I say that? Oh my God. Like he's embarrassed by how he acted.
That's good. He should be. Many things he did were embarrassing.
Cole like makes fun of himself, but in like a funny way, not like a I did something wrong way. Not yet. So we'll see.
We'll find out. We'll be back on Tuesday night with more Bachelor and more Love is Blind to come as well. Have a great weekend and talk to y'all next week. I said y'all because they live in Dallas.
You got one thing right.
Bye.
Bye.